Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudi. For reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer obeisances, respectful obeisances, and to the personality of Godhead, Narayan, and to Narayan, which is the supremest human being, and to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto the author, Srila Vyasadeva. Hare Krishna. And today we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2. And then we are on chapter 6 today. Is May 26, 2020, and the chapter 6 is entitled Purusha Shukta Confirmed, and my understanding is that we are on text 32. Okay. Srijami. Tat. Yukta. Hara. Arati. Tatvasha. Vishvam. Purusha. Rupena. Paripati. Trishaktidrik. Sijamitani yuktoham. Aho arati tadvasha. Vishvam Purusha Rupena. Paripati Trishaktidrik. Srijamitani yuktoham. Aroharati tadvashaha. Vishvam Purusha Rupena. Paripati Trishaktidrik. Srijamitani yuktoham. Aroharati tadvasha. Vishvam Purusha Rupena. Paripati Trishaktidrik.
Srijamitam niyuktoham
Sijamitam yuktoham
Aroharati tadvasaham
Aruharati tadvashaha
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Paripati Trishakti Drik
Paripati Trishakti Devi
Srijamitam niyuktoham
Sijamitam yuktoham
Aroharati tadvashaha
Aruharati tadvashaha
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Paripati Trishakti Drik
Paripati Trishakti Drik.
Drik.
Anyone would like to chant on the item?
No, sorry.
Jamitan niruktoham.
So I guess I don't understand what's happening.
Sijamitam yuktoham
Aroharati tadvasha
Aruharati tadvashaha
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Paripati Trishakti Drik
Paripati Trishakti Drik.
Oshijamitam niyuktoham.
Srijamitam niyuktoham
Aroharati tadvasha.
Aroharati tadvasha
Visham Purusha Rupena
Vishvam Purusha Rupena
Paripati Trishakti Drik.
Paripati Trishakti Drik.
Anyone else? Srijami,
Srijami
do create.
to
Do create
Tat
have
by his
by
by
his
his
niyukta
Niyukta
appointment.
appointment.
Aham,
Aham
I,
I
Ara,
Hara
Lord Shiva,
Lord Shiva
Arati,
Arati
destroys
destroys
Tadvasha
Tatvasha
under his subordination.
under his subordination.
Vishvam,
Vishvam,
the whole universe.
the whole universe.
Purusha, the
Purusha,
personality of Godhead.
personality of God.
Rupena,
Rupena,
by his eternal form.
by his eternal form.
Paripati,
Paripati,
maintains.
maintains.
Trishakti Drik,
Trishakti Drik,
the controller of three
the
energies.
controller of three energies.
Translation. By his will I create. Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form as the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of these three energies. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The conception of one without a second is clearly confirmed here. The one is Lord Vasudeva, and only by his different energies and expansion are different manifestations, both in the material and in the spiritual world, maintained. In the material world also, Lord Vasudeva is everything, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7:19. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. Everything is Vasudeva only. In the Vedic hymns, also, the same Vasudeva is held to be supreme. It is said in the Vedas, Vasudevat Paro Brahmam Nachanyorit Sti Tat Vataha. In fact, there is no greater truth than Vasudeva. And Lord Krishna affirms the same truth in the Bhagavad Gita 7:7. Mata parantaram nanyat. There is nothing above me, Lord Krishna. So the conception of oneness, as overly stressed by the impersonalist, is also accepted by the personalist devotee of the Lord. The difference is that the impersonalist denies personality in the ultimate issue, whereas the devotee gives more importance to the personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam explains these truths in the verse under discussion. Lord Vasudeva is one without a second, but because he is all-powerful, he can expand himself as well as displays his omnipotencies. The Lord is described here as omnipotent by three energy, three Shaktidrik. So primarily, his three energy are internal, marginal, and external. This external energy is also displayed in three modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Similarly, the internal potency is also displayed in three spiritual modes, Samvit, Sandini, and Ladini. The marginal potency, or the living entities, is also spiritual, Prakritim Vidi Me Param. But the living entities are never equal to the Lord. The Lord is Nirasta Samyati Saya. In other words, no one is greater than or equal to the Supreme Lord. So the living entities, including even such great personalities as Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, are all subordinate to the Lord. In the material world also, in his eternal form of Vishnu, he maintains and controls all the affairs of the demigods, including Brahma and Shiva. Om Gyanatimurandasya Gyana Jala Shalakaya Shakshun Militam Jena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Chitanya Manubishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dattati Swapadamtikam Vandeham Shigu Shiyuta Padakamalam Shigurum Vaishnavam Sham Shirupam Sagajatam Sagana Sagagunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Tadveta Sabadutam Parijana Saita Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Tagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Sham E Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tata Kanshanam Gongi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Hanamami Hari Priye Kansha Kalpatarubhyacha Kripa Sindhu Bhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namah Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prestaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta, Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Sarasvati Deve, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvesesha Shunyavadi, Paskachya Dejatarine. Sijamitam Niyuktaham Ahuarati Tat Vasham Vishvam Purusharupena Paripati Trishaktidrik. By his will I create. Lord Shiva destroyed, and he himself, in his eternal form as the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is a powerful controller. of these three energies. Hare Krishna. So on Sunday, dear Govinda Prabhu was saying how maintenance is more difficult than creation and annihilation. And just after the course, I made a comment to my roommates, and I said, well, destruction, that's good. I can do that. So I was, in saying that, I felt connected with Lord Shiva. Somehow I felt like, yes, Lord Shiva is like, is easily attainable in a sense that it's like, his job is to destroy everything. So we can relate to Lord Shiva. And in fact, Lord Shiva is very easily pleased. He's called, I don't remember his name, but one of his names is that he's easily pleased. Easily.
Asutosh.
Yeah. What did you say?
Asutosh.
Ashutosh. Yeah, Ashutosh, that's Lord Shiva. And so Lord Shiva is easily pleased. And in fact, he's kind of have disdain in some ways. Like we can approach Lord Shiva to have a lot of money. We can approach Lord Shiva to have a good husband, a good wife. We can approach Lord Shiva for so many material commodities. And Lord Shiva cannot give it. You say, oh, just take. You know, just take. Because it doesn't mean anything for him. It's just in one moment, he just destroys everything. So he knows how valueless all material commodities are. And that's why when he show up at the end of, you know, the day of Brahma or at the end of the life of Brahma, when he show up and he destroy everything, he really show in his pastime how it's meaningless. Is all that cosmic manifestation is in itself, the cosmic manifestation is in itself meaningless. It has only meaning when it's connected with its purpose. And the purpose of the cosmic manifestation is to support the living entities, the Jiva soul, the conditioned soul, to go back to their original constitutional position of eternal servant of Krishna. So Lord Shiva, he really, in his pastime, he has like the easy job of destroying. I can see that it takes so long to develop a relationship, isn't it? It takes so long to develop a relationship. It seems like to take so much effort to develop a relationship. And in one moment, in one word, in one action, it can be smashed to the ground, to like annihilation, complete annihilation in one moment, in one word, in one attitude, in one action. It can be completely destroyed. Even if I've taken years to create and maintain a relationship. So we can see that destruction is something that's easily attainable. And then creation, I know my favorite mode of nature, the one I've acted most of my life, is passion. I know passion so well. Ignorance, I have some flirting with ignorance, but it's not so, it haven't been so prominent in my life. But passion, I know that one. And the passion is like burning like fire, always needing to create something new. Prabhupada says your disease in the Western world is that you always want to change everything. You always want to create something new. You always want to change. So we can see from that comment from Srila Prabhupada that the Western world is creating from passion, always new model of cars, always new type of clothing. I was having a conversation with Patrick before he was preparing for his class, and he was discussing clothing and attire for Vaishnav with different devotees. And I was thinking of that, and I was thinking how that manifestation of the mother passion in the West is always changing clothing, like, mini skirts, maxi skirts, and this change like tight or loose, and it's always in motion. And the mode of passion is creation, is constant creation. So is never leave any space for breathing, and I'm very familiar with that mode because my life has been like that, constant push to create something new. And in discussing the attire with Patrick, one point that was really meaningful for me that we discuss is the timelessness of the Vaishnava attire. The timelessness. We can find Nanda Maharaj wearing a dhoti. And then we can find the 6 Goswami wearing dhotis, Lord Chaitanya wearing dhotis. And then we can find men right now, nowadays, wearing dhotis, like Ramachandra, he wears dhotis regularly. And so there's a timelessness, there's something in the mode of goodness in that I don't need to change, like, let me put a pants or a short or a yogi pants or this kind of pants or this kind of pants, because that's a mode of passion. So even in so many aspects of the Vaishnava culture, we can find that timelessness, which is really a reflection of the mode of goodness. So here, Srila Prabhupada is speaking of Krishna being the primary Lord. Ishwara Parama Krishna, Shakshitananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Anadir Adir Govinda is the primary Lord, primary of our Lord. Anadi is meant like the one without a second. That there is no one above Krishna. And I know as a child, I wasn't raised in any religion. I was raised secular, humanistic, something like that. And so in my childhood, yeah, I was always, if I was thinking of God, which I was thinking of God, I was always thinking about who is above God? Who is above God? And you know, if there's someone above God, then that person is God. And that's so really important, like so many philosophy where they put something above God. And one of those philosophies is impersonalism. So in that verse, Ishwara Parama Krishna, Ishwara, like the controller of everything, Ishwara Parama, above everything again, is Krishna. The controller of Parama, above everything, is Krishna. Sarva Karana Karanam, and is the cause of all causes. So he's the primary Lord, is the cause of all causes. And in many parts of the Veda, this is explained. Still, some transcendentalists, they affirm that the impersonal aspect of Krishna is supreme. And there is many reasons for that. And I went to that verse that Srila Prabhupada is quoting from the Bhagavad Gita because it's a very familiar verse. Bahunam janmanam mante gyanavam mam papadyante vasudeve savamiti tamahatma sudurlabha. So it's a verse from the chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, and text 19. After many births and deaths, he who is actually knowledge surrendered unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. And I love the purport to this verse, so I'm going to read the purport. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. So after many, many births of doing rituals from the Veda, one can come to that realization that Krishna is the ultimate goal of all knowledge, like is a realization of all Veda, is a realization of all sacrifice, is a realization of all austerities, is a realization of all rituals. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. So that's the other day, Ramachandra was asking a question about that impersonalism inside our hearts. And Srila Prabhupada's second praman is Namaste Sarasvati Devi, and also obeisances to servant of practicing on the Sarasvati Devi, Sarasvati Thakur. Namaste Sarasvati Devi, Gauravani Pracharini, like who preach the cult of Lord Chaitanya, Gauravani Pracharini, Nirvishishya Shunyavadi. So to the impersonalist and the nihilism, that's us. We are impersonalists. We are born impersonalists, and we have a tendency for impersonalism. And I love that someone who is trying for spiritual life, the first step of trying for spiritual life is first to realize that I am suffering. So that's really like when we see people coming to that understanding that I am suffering, coming to that realization that no, it's not happy here. No, relationships are not happy. I'm so surprised by most of what takes place in the name of family life. For example, in my family, like what I noticed is that people are constantly tense with each other. That's my family life. I'm not imposing that on everybody else, but that's my experience of family life. A lot of tension, constant tension. And we love each other. This really romantic ideas is really surprising and puzzling for me. And it has been from the child I was a child. When I was a child, there was family reunion, Christmas, all those things. And they were such a pain in the neck for me. From a very young childhood, it was just a pain in the neck for me. I was just burdened by family life. And it's been a theme for me. And I have such a hard time understanding family life, understanding why people stay together, even though they're constantly tense, fighting, having enormous wrestle with each other, etc., just because they have some common blood or DNA or something in this lifetime. I love the story of Chitraketu Maharaj in that respect. He wanted to have a child, he wanted to have a son. And he tried many, for a long time. And he had many wives to try to have children with. And he didn't have a child. Again and again, he was trying with one wife, another wife, and he didn't have a child. And finally, he did some rituals and he called some Brahman, they did some sacrifice, and finally one of his wives got pregnant and she got a child. And of course, the king, he was so affectionate to that wife because she finally got pregnant. She was carrying his son, and then the son was born, and the king was extremely so affectionate to that queen. And the other queen, they got jealous. That's family life, jealousy. So the other queens, they all got jealous. They got so jealous of that queen because she was getting all the attention of the king. So they plotted together to poison the child. And they did. They killed the child. And of course, when the child was dead, he was 3-year-old, and he was killed. And the king was having so much pain. Finally, he had a son, and he had so much pain, and he was praying. And then Narada Muni came, I believe. It's a little fuzzy in my head, but I think Narada Muni came, and he revived the child. And the child stood up like that. And then the child started to speaking. He said, "Why are you speaking? You're not my dad. You're not my dad. I had so many dads. And I had so many moms. So many dads and so many moms. Why are you lamenting like that? Why are you lamenting like that?" And so it's like in that vision of eternity, it's that container. Of course, we want to be grateful for the vessel that allow us to take a human birth. for sure we want to be grateful and respectful to our family. We also have a debt to our family. We have a debt to pay, and the best way to pay that debt is to make sure that this soul, which we are connecting in some way or another, do not need to take a birth again. That's our responsibility, to really make sure that those in our family lives do not take birth again. And the way we can really pay that debt, the best way to be dutiful, to be really giving back what we got, which is a boon of human life. Human life is very, very rare. We can see even in this room, if we look at all the living entities in this room, there is, millions of ants, probably roaches somewhere, there's grass outside and all that. There is only 3 human beings in that little plot of land and millions of other living entities. So just by that, logic, we can see, well, human life is really, really rare. So the boon of human life, we want to be grateful for the vessel that took us to that place. And the best way to repay that debt is to make sure that we save our family members from the repeated births, and then save them from millions of lives of suffering. And the way that it's explained that we can do that is by ourselves becoming a pure devotee. When we become a pure devotee, we save 7 generations before us, we save 7 generations after us. So the way to do that is really for us to really be clear, like, I'm going to come to that place of purely serving my spiritual master, focusing on that. By focusing on purely serving Srila Prabhupada, giving everything to Srila Prabhupada, meditating on how can I please Srila Prabhupada, regardless my shortcoming, regardless if I'm happy, sad, suffering, if I have what I need, if I don't have what I need. There is no impediment, no material impediment to devotional service. There is nothing that can stop me from serving Srila Prabhupada. I know it's an interesting thing. When I got sick almost 8 weeks ago, when I got sick almost 8 weeks ago, I wrote a letter to Dominique, because she knew she's the first one that I needed to cancel with, so I needed to give an explanation, some explanation. But I wrote a letter and I said, I feel so purposeful. I felt so purposeful throughout, even though I was not doing much. Really, I was kind of, in some days, I was kind of feeling like a larva. And still, there is no material impediment to devotional service. So here I love that while one is trying to give up, so at the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism when we try to let go of our family attachment, society, friendship, and love. Prabhupada often says society, friendship, and love. That's what ties us to the material energy, to want to please, to want to get approval, to fit in society, friendship, and love. Then that's what's entangled us. So naturally, when we go towards spiritual life, we are going to want to go towards impersonalism, like everything is one, nothing really matters, and that's definitely a stage of self-realization. Badanti tadva vidas tadva yanav agyayam. Brahmeti Brahmabeti Bhagavan iti Shaktyati. So the learned transcendentalists, they know the absolute truth. They fully know the absolute truth. And they call that non-dual substance. And non-dual is so important to understand that to step out of material consciousness, we need to step out of duality, good, bad. attractive, not attractive. So the sage, they know that non-dual substance is called Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And Prabhupada give example to illustrate those different approach to spiritual life. Like sometimes he said, like sometimes we can see a mountain far away and it's undifferentiated, just a mountain far away. So that's like Brahman realization. We see the mountain, but it's undifferentiated. And then as we come close to the mountain, we see colors, we see the trees, we see like there is villages. So we see something is starting to differentiate. And then as we come closer, we can see there's living beings and deals and human beings and transaction and all kind of varieties of life within the mountains. So Prabhupada sometimes give example of that in looking at impersonalism and the localized Paramatma to realize God in the heart. And then of course the devotee, my understanding is that in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a purport where Srila Prabhupada says there is a personalist, and the personalist, like Christian, they are really focused on God. And then there is the impersonalist, those who say focus on the oneness. And then there is the devotees, and the devotees, they relate to both. And my understanding of that is that the devotees fully surrender to the personality of Godhead, and he feels safe and fearless within the energy of the personality of Godhead. He feels safe and fearless in that impersonal Brahman realization because he knows that God is everything, that everything emanates from God. And so that there is no separation, there is no void in the universe, and there is never any separation. For a devotee, there is never any separation from Krishna. So I'm going to continue this purport because I love it so much. When one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism, but one is further advanced. He can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. So that's the timelessness of devotional service, like the attire we spoke earlier about the dhoti and the sari. Wearing a sari means like I can be anywhere in the timeline of the lack of timeline of Vaishnavism. In a sari, I belong to the pastime of Krishna. I belong to the Lord Chaitanya's pastime. I don't belong to any time, place, and circumstances. And that's the timelessness. And so Prabhupada said here that when we advance further, we see activities and we see varieties, and those activities constitute devotional service. So the verse further earlier I was quoting from the Brahma Samhita, the first verse of the 5th chapter, Ishvara Parama Krishna, and then it describes the abode of the Lord as Chintamani. Chintamani Pakarasha Masikal Paviksha Laksha Vitesu Suavi Ravi Palayantam Lakshmi Sahasras So that's variety. In the spiritual world, Chintamani, every atom is Chintamani. Every atom is Chintamani. The TBA atom can give. Chintamani is like touchstone that can transform everything in everything. Chintamani, that's the spiritual abode of the Lord. Chintamani, like the Lord is served by millions of Lakshmi. So we are so struggling to get $10 or $100 or maybe a few thousand of dollars. And then so much of our identity is connected with that, at least in the West. But the Lord is serving by millions of Chintamani. And there is wish fulfilling desire tree that's just, here we are just if we have a mango tree, give mangoes. And if we have like a loquat tree, give loquat fruits. If we have an orange tree, give oranges. But the Kalpavriksha trees are desire trees. They give whatever we want. They can just give and give. And that's spiritual life where it doesn't stop giving. Life doesn't stop giving. Life is a touchstone. Life is a Kalpavriksha. Life is full of abundance and opulence. That's a vision of transcendence. That's a vision of a devotee. The devotee is completely connected with that Chintamani, or that aspect of the spiritual world. And the spiritual world is here. The spiritual world, the spiritual sky is infinite. And the material world is part of the spiritual sky. So that means that everything in the spiritual world is here too. And the difference between the rest of the spiritual sky and this part of the spiritual sky is that's covered by a cloud. There is a cloud. And the cloud is there, but it doesn't mean that there is no spiritual sky. So we have an opportunity by practicing devotional service, by serving the spiritual master, by practicing devotional service and begging for more devotional service, like the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. That's our main service, to chant Hare Krishna, to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. That's the best way we can serve the Lord, by chanting His name, by constantly chanting His name. By constantly chanting His name, we please the Lord, we serve the Lord. And we can ask for more service. Yesterday we posted, you posted the video, Chief Jago, and the day before yesterday, we posted the video, Jeev Jago. And at the end, Bhakti Thakur, he begged for the holy name. So what does that mean? Of course he's chanting. If we are chanting, it's chant too. It's because we haven't yet, I speak for myself, I haven't yet received the holy name. But I want to receive the holy name. I want to receive the holy name. And the holy name is received when one chant purely, Chudanam, completely chant without offenses, completely focused on the name, hearing the name. And when hearing the name, being completely immersed in that transcendental vibration, that the transcendental vibration give all the energies of the Lord. Prabhupada calls those spiritual energies in a purport. He said the spiritual world also is divided in three. We have the three material modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then we have the three qualities, the three modes of spiritual life, Sandit, Sandini, and Ladini. And those three are like eternity, knowledge, and bliss. And we can get connection with eternity to a personal realization. We can get that sense of Samvit, knowledge, to Paramatma realization. Connected with Paramatma, we guide it, we receive knowledge. However, only through devotional service, to pure devotional service, do we access that third quality of the spiritual energy, which is Ladini. Only through devotional service, pure devotional service, could we really access and experience that third quality of the spiritual energy, which is Ladini. So through that chanting, we can come to a place where we want to have more mouths, like we want to like be like Anantashesh. He have millions of foods, millions of eggs, and he's still like is not satisfied that he wants to chant the holy name of the Lord. So we want to be like that one, like to relish the holy name of the Lord, to feel Krishna dancing on our tongue, and to be so intent in that goal of purely serving the Lord, purely serving the holy name of the Lord, purely be servant of the holy name of the Lord, purely be servant of the holy name of the Lord. When I hear Srila Prabhupada, like I've been getting up quite late the last 8 weeks, and I miss chanting with Prabhupada in the morning during japa period. And then this morning, I got up a little earlier, not that much, but a little. And I decided I'm going to spend 1 hour just like sitting and being with Srila Prabhupada. Because Prabhupada, he owned the holy name. And we cannot get the holy name from someone who doesn't own the holy name. We can only get the holy name from someone who owns it. And Prabhupada owns the holy name. And we receive Nam, the Ma mantra. We receive it from Srila Prabhupada because he has it. And we want to beg to Srila Prabhupada, I too want to receive holy name. I too want to receive the holy name. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to read the verse again. I didn't finish reading the purpose. But you can read that purpose. It's really, really an amazing purpose from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 19. So I'm going to read. Shri Jamitani Yuktaham Aroharatita Dvasha Vishvam Purusha Rupena Paripati Trishakti Drik. By his will, I create. Lord Shiva destroys, and he himself, in his eternal form as the personality of Godhead, maintains everything. He is the powerful controller of his three energies. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with us. Any comment, question, challenges?
Question.
Oh no, not easy.
So you mentioned how the best way that we can repay our family, I don't know if particularly you mean parents, but our family is by ensuring that they don't take another birth. And then, like, I know I've heard Dear Govinda share about like his parents leaving their bodies and how like chanting of the holy name is so important during that time. And I'm curious, is it that like, okay, automatically, if I'm chanting when someone is leaving their body, like they're guaranteed to go back to Godhead? Or like, how does that, like,
Okay.
Is there any definites there?
My understanding, okay. So, you know, like if someone hears the holy name of the Lord at the end of this, the question is it guaranteed they are going back to Godhead? My understanding is that the holy name is pure, and when someone hears the holy name, their heart is going to be purified. And by, you know, chanting, hearing the holy name, one is guaranteed to go back to Godhead. It doesn't say when. Mm. It doesn't mean that, oh, because I'm chanting Hare Krishna right now to that person leaving their body, the soul is going to be directly going back to Godhead at that moment. It is possible. You know, like there is kripa, like mercy. We can only go back to Godhead with the mercy of the Lord. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, there is nothing automatic in spiritual life. Mm-hmm. So if we chant and the person absorbs themselves, and at the moment of death, as they're hearing the holy name, all they want is to serve the Lord and be with the Lord, then that consciousness will take them there. And the holy name is all purifying. I know, like, when my stepdad left his body, my stepdad was a staunch atheist, like he couldn't even put a foot in a church. He couldn't stop like be blasphemic towards spiritual people. So that's his life. But somehow I'm his stepdaughter, and somehow, you know, like I was one of the rare person that he was speaking to in his life, because he was such a difficult person, such a narrow-minded, difficult, I don't know, like yesterday even I received a letter from his daughter which said he was tyrannic, anyway, abusive, whatever. Like because of personal growth, I was able to let go of whatever stuff I had with him, to be really present with him during his life, and then build up so much trust that he will be willing to eat prashadam, for example, which was very surprising for everyone, that he will eat vegetarian, because he was staunch meat eater, drink wine, whatever. And yeah, and he was, you know, I became so detached in relationship with him that he became open to eat prashadam. He became open to vegetarian diet. Not that he will follow it, but at least he was able to have a meal without meat, which is really kind of almost unfathomable in some, you know. For his daughter, when she heard that, she was like, how is that possible? You took him to a vegetarian restaurant. And then at the end of his life, he was on this, you know, they unplugged him. He was dying, like he was clear he was dying. He was in a coma or whatever, some kind of coma. And I called the hospital and I asked the nurse, please put the phone to his right ear. And I chanted almost a round, or maybe longer, I don't remember. I chanted for quite a long time, maybe 10 minutes, something like that. I chanted, and the phone was there. The nurse, maybe the nurse was also hearing, I don't know. But I know he was hearing, like the soul was hearing. He was unconscious, but I know the soul was hearing. And I know that it saves that soul from so many lifetimes of fearful suffering, because of the way he was living his life, because of his staunch way of being against God and, you know, like negative towards people and not treat people well. I know that chanting at the end of his life cleared up layers upon layers upon layers of karma. I have a firm conviction based on my reading of Prabhupada's books. I have a firm conviction that it saves that person from so many types of fears. And, you know, it's maybe the prashadam he ate during his life, because he has a stepdaughter who with prashadam started that bank account. We opened the bank account. He was in contact with Srila Prabhupada through me. He opened his bank account. Bank account is there for eternity. In the next life, he will pick up if he wants to. But I know that yes, at the end of life, if one hears the holy name, is guaranteed to go back to Godhead.
It's just not guaranteed when.
Huh?
It's just not guaranteed when.
It doesn't say when. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Any other comment? Dear Govinda, would you like to add something?
Oh, well, I'm feel complete with your response, and but yeah, it was I mean, as I mentioned just this last weekend. In fact, I told to some group of my experiences with my mother and father leaving their body, and yeah, and well, you mentioned the pastime of Chitraketu, so it's described that Chitraketu went back to Gaya, but that's an example where there was a few lives in between.
That's right.
Similarly with the case of Ajamil. So I appreciate your response, including your personal story of chanting to your stepdad through the phone and serving him prasad. So thank you very much.
Thank you. George, you raise your hand.
Hare Krishna, Mary, thank you very much for the program. I just want to share an inspiration from what I heard you share. The idea of if we, in showing gratitude, to endeavor to become a devotee, even a pure devotee in this lifetime. It reminded me of something Narayan said as he read from Mangala Arati this morning. I believe he said that a pure devotee is, a quality of a pure devotee is that he or she is devoid of the propensity to criticize others. And I looked up the definition of criticism, and it was it had to do something with kind of like looking down on somebody based on perceived faults or mistakes, and thinking about kind of like you mentioned the issues with family members and things and so forth. There's so much propensity to criticize, at least it's been in my experience. And so I feel like that's like ripe ground to make progress. Not only I think for having awareness of when I'm criticizing others, but also like criticizing myself, you know, like when I do, like starting with that self-compassion also, I feel like can be, it's like I'm getting some inspiration there. So I just wanted to appreciate and express my gratitude.
Yeah, yes, to accept by accepting my humanity, my shortcoming, my mistakes, my my inabilities in so many forms, then it's easier to accept others too. And then you're looking at, okay, I was devoid of the propensity to criticize. You know, like a pure devotee will be roaring like a lion to point out discrepancies in someone's consciousness or in a society's consciousness. However, that propensity to want to put people down by criticizing them and feeling superior is not there in a pure devotee. And you're looking like the aspiration to come to that place, and how in family life it will be very helpful. I know it really helped me with that specific person. There was a person in my life where I, you know, from 10 to, I don't know, maybe my 30s, I could have blamed him for all my miseries, really, from 10-year-old on. And I really made peace with that person. I completely made peace. Not that I will disagree with the fact that he was an atheist, abusive and all that. I agree with that. But it's, I make peace in the sense that I have no desire to criticize him or make him wrong or make him bad. And because of that work of like really detaching from that propensity with that person, I'm not detached with everyone, but with that person, I really did a lot of work. Because of that, then he came to really being fond of me in a way that he was revealing his mind more than he was doing to anybody else in his life. Yes.
Yeah, that's very encouraging. It seems like the people that we are closest with, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like easier to go there, you know? And then it's like, not only that, but it's also very easy to go there with ourselves too, because of closeness, you know, it's like the internal monologue. So it's encouraging to hear your example and to be mindful of that for me. So thank you, Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. The people who are the closest to us, they are also the one that have the potential, the highest potential to mirror what's inside of us that we don't like. And because of that, we have only, you know, we have only two choices. Either we criticize them or we criticize ourselves. Thank you. Anything else? Hi, Krishna, Nandini.
Krishna. I could say a lot. I feel very inspired and enlivened by your sharing and by the verse. And what came to my mind when I heard Esse's question and your sharing is that there's this story, I think it's a cobbler, and Narada Muni passed, and the cobbler said, oh, when you see Narayan next time, please ask him, when can I come back? When will I be with him? And Narada Muni goes and asks him. And I think the response is like in 100 lifetimes or 1,000 lifetimes. And Narada Muni returns and tells the cobbler, and the cobbler is jubilant. He's so happy, like, oh, only 100 lifetimes. And that from the point of view of eternity, our one life is like nothing. And the acharyas, that's my understanding or interpretation, they have this view of eternity. They speak from that perspective. And for a long time I was disappointed with Srila Prabhupada saying, oh yeah, if you chant for just a little while, then like then all these symptoms of love of God appear. And I know people who chant 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, and they don't show these symptoms. And his statement, now I can accept it from the point that, yeah, he sees from the view of eternity. And then very soon is maybe 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 lifetimes. I don't know how much, but
That's very soon.
It's very soon. It's soon for me, but yeah. So that.
Yeah, Srila Prabhupada has a vision of eternity when he speaks to us, and he wants us to develop that vision of eternity too. Yes, and I like that example because the cobbler, he does something that's really so dirty. He deal with leather, and it's a shudra, and feels so contaminated, so low born. And in fact, him being jubilant, hearing the response from Narada Muni, qualify him to go back at the end of his life.
Yeah.
You have that sense of that jubilation. Wow. Just by, and we can be all in that consciousness, because just by being in contact with the pure devotee, which we are, and just by chanting Hare Krishna, we are in the same situation than the cobbler. We are going back to Godhead, and we could feel that jubilation. And that jubilation could be what takes us back right away. Yeah. We could, and by that, because we are in the same situation than he is.
Yeah, and another thing that inspired me is what you said at the end about the Maha Mantra. So we chant the mantra and we know the mantra, but we don't own it. It's like we don't really have access to them. Or you said you weren't, and I can relate. I don't have access to the mantra. And this morning we were reading in Bhagavad Gita in chapter 17 about sacrifice and austerity in what is it called? The division of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And about sacrifice in sattva. And so the verse is about sacrifice in sattva, and the purport is about it. And then at the end, Srila Prabhupada says, well, and the essence, that's my own words, the essence is to like sacrifice everything in order to glorify Krishna. And I was thinking that's exactly like what I don't know if that's what's meant, but that's what I endeavor to in chanting, to sacrifice all thoughts, to give up all thoughts that are not related to really listening to the chanting, listening to the mantra, absorbing it, and with gratitude and joy. And it's like to do that jump in consciousness and trust that anything that my mind needs to know in order to function in life will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. To know that the holy name is Chintamani. That the holy name is Chintamani, is Kalpavriksha. It's like it's full. That everything emanates from the holy name. That the holy name is full of everything. So I like yeah, to sacrifice all thoughts, all anything, you know, for the sake of hearing the holy name and be present with the holy name. That felt inspiring for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also I asked myself, like, do I really want the holy name?
Mm.
Like, if that's just a thought. If I were to really want the holy name, then my understanding is Krishna would give it to me. So there's something in me that's withholding.
Want something else?
Something else?
Is there something in you that wants something else? If you really wanted the holy name, Krishna will give the holy name to you. But there is something in you, in me, in us, that wants something else, that we are not receiving the holy name. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel very inspired by this conversation about our responsibility towards family members. And yeah, I could share a lot. I will give space to others.
Thank you, Nandini.
Thank you.
Yes, sometimes we may think like our responsibility towards family members is to make them comfortable in the material energy. Like twisted. It's our material conception of life. Because and also mistrust that Krishna is not taking care of them. It's about trusting and like not putting ourselves between them and Krishna, and then be really intense that I know my responsibility. I know what I'm supposed to give. I know what's my duty is to, you know, to do what's in my power to do to serve my family members, my parents, give back what I get from them by being intentionate about serving them from birth and death. Yeah, you felt inspired by that. Yes, and that to make them materially comfortable.
Yeah, the importance of being at peace with my family members, even if they're not at peace with me, but that I am in peace with them, so that when they're in distress, I'm there. Like when there's a moment that I can give something, then I'm ready.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you
for sharing, Nandini. Thank you all for listening. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.